everybody, and welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips after a 4-day weekend. I don't know, I had too much to do for it to be a 4-day weekend, but you know, we'll call it that. Hi, I'm your host, Ann, and with us today are, as usual, Disembodied Hands, the queen of all, Quindy, helping out herding the cats, along with Justin and John, who really, at this point, are relegated to the peanut gallery. Kiki is in the other room, and I've left the door open, so maybe she will grace us with her presence, Princess Kiki, who is now on the 8th day of her heat, so she's very hormonal. Oh, wait! Are you gonna come? Come on, Papa, say hi to everybody. Come on. There you go. There's my good girl. Yay! Good girl, Kiki. Good girl. Yeah, you can hang out if you want. Your bed's here. Yeah, you gonna hang out? Good girl. So yes, she has grown adult brain cells at an exponential rate since the heat started. She was already like growing them fast for the previous 2 weeks, but now she is Quindy is a great cat herder. Yes, exactly. Nope, no chompies. The chompies have completely stopped, Kodiak. 100%. We just had to survive somehow the first 10 months to get here. Do you want to say hi again, or you just want pettins? Just want pettins? Yeah? Because you're getting to be an adult dog, huh? You getting to be just a big sweetie? Yeah, not a chompy anymore? Yes, I know. By ReaperCon, you should be a super big sweetie. This is the good thing, is since I'm bringing her to ReaperCon. Good girl. Yeah. This is the great thing about leaving the door open, boss, that I can have you in here. Oh, Scritches. Yes, but you can't get into trouble, okay? You gotta go settle. No. Oh, that was almost a chomp. There was almost like a little bit of demouth. Demouth was going like this in the air next to my sleeve. Ah, dear me. But yeah, she's, But yeah, she's, Kiki has completely leveled up. Yep. She's, the giant swishy tail. She does have a giant swishy tail. Absolutely. It's this huge plume. Totally. The rest of her fur is not that long, but the tail is like, woof. It's crazy talk. So we're weathering. Today is the first day she doesn't get her walks. Because of course she's in heat. So we're just going to keep her in our yard for the next 2 weeks or so. Till we are out of the danger zone. But, she did get to play with her, giant dog fishing pole, her flirt pole this morning. And she was like, oh my God, the thing is back. Because we actually stopped playing with her with it. Because when she was a baby, she would get obsessed about it. We didn't like that. So we backed off on it and just played Frisbee for a long time and ball, right? Oh, you know what that word is. She cocked her head. It's like, Frisbee? But yeah, then David got out the pole this morning. He said she pretty much lost her mind. So that'll be fun, at least. She'll get fun, even though she doesn't get her walks. Good girl. Yeah, go settle. But anyway, hey, Mousling. But yeah, she's, it's nice. It's nice to finally have adult dog Kiki showing up. Even if she is, like, kind of moody and, you know, like you get. Oh, you keep hearing me say your name, and then you stop and look at me. She's, like, standing in the door. You can come back and get pettins if you want. It's up to you. It's up to you, Keeks. Up to you. Mama's going to work on this Mousling. Oh, I see a sneaky Kiki. Oh, here's the sneaky Kiki. Good girl. Yep, yeah, you can sniff around. You just can't get in, like, trouble. Okay? She's like, I'm not that adult yet, Mama. So we actually gave her Mousling eyes last time, and I'm feeling like I need to actually highlight these a bit more. I mean, mice do have pretty dark eyes. The problem, of course, is what I kind of outlined last time, is that the hat casts a deep shadow over the eyes anyway, so you're not going to see them, and that's the problem. But I can highlight a bit more on the cheekbones to bring some attention. I mean, this is why it's kind of good that he has such an extreme expression, is because you can't see the eyes, so you lose any expressiveness that you would normally get from the eyes part of the face, and you've got to focus on the nose and the mouth, which is fine, but yep, enrichment, but no walkies. Yeah, and I'm going to actually, now that she's attained more adult brain cells, I'm actually going to start with the obedience training again. Hitting it a little bit harder. Because it's like when she was a baby, she just did not have the attention span, did not have the anything, right? This Chitis is, this is a fun size Mousling, so it's actually much larger than a standard Mousling, which helps. I kind of wanted to paint one of the big ones because I thought it would be fun. So Mr. Witchhunter, who I also painted in a small version a long time ago, at several ReaperCons ago. Yeah, so this guy, I painted him before. I think we all did kind of a speed Mousling on stream that particular ReaperCon. Keeping an eye on the pupper. She's not adult enough that I'm like totally unworried. Yeah, so I have to kind of keep half an eye out. I think she's gonna just wander around. You know, you could bring a chew in here, young lady. Yeah, you could bring in a chew. You can settle. She's like, no, I want to play with my bed. You know what, though, Papa? I don't think I want you playing with the bed. Because then she's going to settle down and try to chew the bed. The bed has been rescued once already, and I swore if she chewed another hole in it, I wasn't going to fix it. No, Ba. All right, I'm going to put you out. Exiled. Exiled. Good girl. Yeah. You just want to keep distracting Mama, huh? Hold on. I'll give you one second, guys. I'm going to give her a chew. We can try it. We can try it, Kiki. But you must be a good girl and chew your chew. Y'all can listen to her crunching. I gave her a chew and she didn't want to stay out in the other room. She wanted to come in here with me. All right. We'll see how bad the crunching gets. I'm just going to get some walnut mixed up just because it's a general shadow for this model. Walnut Brown 9136 is a black brown or a brown black. Yeah, exactly. Well, David gets her, oh no. Oh no, Lunchbox. Lunchbox disasters? Did I miss something? Apparently I did. Oh no, they've cracked under the pressure of life. And honestly, same. Aww. Sorry. F Kiki. Or say F Kiki. But yeah, David takes her on her walk in the morning anyway. Morning walk is David walk. So once she goes back to normal, which I think I'm going to make it on the 15th on Monday, just to be safe. Just to be safe. And then we get the fun of seeing if she manages to disrupt our honeymoon, which is exactly 6 months from when she went into heat, which would just be par for the course. But I'm going to find an in-home pet sitter. Somebody who will live here with her. And we will see if we can find somebody who will handle it. Even if I have to pay them double. Because I don't want to cancel the Hawaii trip because of somebody's butt. That's the danger. All right, let's get this. What do we want to paint today, guys? What do you guys feel like working on? Do you want to start on the hat? Do you want to paint the coat? Do you want to do the little shirt and the booties? Do you want to do metal? And do we want to do metallics or NMM? I was kind of thinking metallics might work on this one because it's big. Yeah, she's, if we have a 6-monther on our hands, Twisted Omo, we're in trouble. Really don't want to have to cancel the Hawaii trip because I can't find anybody to watch her if she goes into heat. So I'm going to have to talk to some pet sitters. So I'm going to be booking a few in the coming months just for a day of the weekend to try them out and find somebody we like. Yeah, metallics. All right, we can do metallics. Sure. In that case, I'm actually going to paint the gun walnut. all of it, and then we'll go with metallics. That sounds about right. Yeah, okay. We started his fur really dark too, but I will be bringing up the gun with other colors. But I'm going to just go ahead and do the whole thing dark. Walnut is a perfectly acceptable substrate for steel. And especially if it's kind of grungy, monster blood covered steel. Whatever this guy, I always think is Witchhunter, Monster Hunter. So we'll just do that, and I'll just bring it up with different colors, and that will make it separate out from the hand a little bit. But yeah, so now it's my job to get on rover.com and find a house sitter who will take care of the house and the dog in October, so that we can have a stress-free vacation to Oahu, which I would love because I love Oahu. I love Honolulu. There are so many yummy restaurants and great things, beautiful places to go to and hike. And some great art museums as well, which I don't know if you knew, but... Oh, speaking of which, this Saturday, my personal stream, I'm going to cancel. Because there's an art show down in the Shipyard in San Francisco that David and I go to every year, usually with an old friend of his. And so we're going to do that on Saturday. There we go. If I want to, I can do the same with the sword. Why don't we just base coat everything really dark and see how things work? The only problem with using like a black or near black base coat for some metallics is that I find that a mid-dark works a little better normally. The metallics that are mica-based are made to look good over a dark coat, but sometimes I find it can look a little streaky. It just, if you go too dark, I have best results usually with a mid-metallic or mid base coat. So instead of doing this, I would maybe do russet brown or ruddy leather for the gold base coat, and I would do like, cloudy gray or stormy gray for the steel. But you know what? I'll just do it this way this time. I'll just rock it out. Planning. It's funny, I have even though I know that it's doomed, like, are you that person? I know a couple of you have said, I think in the past, that you are like me, where you start out making like an annual plan and then it absolutely goes to trash and you're just like skidding into the final months, like with your head flying off. Yeah, that's me. So I made an annual plan this year again because of all the book stuff, just to plan that out. And already it has derailed greatly, but it is not derailed as much as I feared. So I'm actually... like, all right. Not too bad. I'm really looking forward to my book promo. Those who did not buy my book because you just don't have the cash or you just didn't know about it, but you're still interested in epic fairy tale adventure, young adult fantasy, it will be on sale. There is a promo. It will be starting on the 3rd of May. 99 cents I decided to go down to, because actually when you do a Kindle Countdown deal, you still get your 70% royalty. So I decided for a promo, I'll do that. Mostly my goal, and the other thing that you do when you do this sort of thing, is you should always have a goal when you advertise anything. And I've learned this over time. So my goal with this, these email promotions, apparently are usually pretty good. I'm going to do the buckle up here too, so on his little hat. So we'll get that base coated. Your plan's never just winging it by tree. That's my usual year. That's my usual year, Curtico. But yeah, so my goal here, apparently these email promotions are really good at getting you reviews. Because you end up getting, usually, especially at 99 cents, you tend to get a decent number of downloads. And people in the past, I was looking on the self-publishing subreddit, which is actually pretty good. Yeah, they said usually, not necessarily for sales, but you usually do end up getting a few reviews out of it. So that would be nice. And apparently a lot of the people who do the bargain books kind of thing are Goodreads people, because one of the people actually saw like his Amazon reviews. He had like 18 and it went out, or he had 10 and it went to 18. but his Goodreads reviews tripled. So that would be really cool to get more Goodreads reviews. Yeah, in our it's just that the reason I still strive to like I'm still bothering to do like an annual plan, and why I did one for the book, is because I definitely want to stick to a production schedule with the writing. Like, I don't want to just kind of let the year kind of get away from me. I'm going to fix this pupil. It's a little bit wonky. Because, you know, books take a long time to write and to edit and to everything. And so I feel like if I don't at least kind of keep an eye sideways on the annual plan, I'm going to start really sliding. And I really want to be able to do 2 books a year. So it kind of keeps it in perspective. And the other thing that I'm actually liking about it, which is something I didn't do before, but learned to do, is that it's true, Cornico. It's true. I know I've just blasted your reality. But I know that there's gonna. I'm really. I don't know if you guys are, but I'm really sensitive to life disruptions. Like over the past couple days, like we had the plumber come yesterday to fix our sink. That's why I had to cancel stream. And then we also had like cleaners, and then we had our bug inspection guy come. Like everything was yesterday, and it was super disruptive, and I just couldn't get anything done. Like it's just disruptions really, really just destroy me as far as productivity. So the nice thing about having this annual plan is that some disruptions I already know about, right? ReaperCon, my dog national show, which I committed to go to this year so that Bridget could see Kiki. You know, stuff like that. Oh, and a trip to see David's parents this summer, and then another trip probably for the holidays, right? So I know that's coming, so I can put that on my annual list, and I can keep it in mind. Whereas otherwise, if I don't keep it in mind, I'm going to get up to like 3 weeks before, and I'm going to have this great plan for the month, and then it's going to be like, oh, I totally forgot X, you know? Yeah, mini painting subreddit is really, really high level. I subscribe to it. I mean, there's some beginners on there too, but yeah, sometimes I feel like they do get blown out a bit by the high end. It kind of makes me wonder if there's a subreddit, mini painting newbies. I mean, it's nice on the one hand to have high level talent on there, because you know you can give feedback and you know, and you can see some pretty cool stuff for inspiration purposes. All right, let's see here. We need some metallics. Metallics. I never keep my Reaper metallics out because I never use them. So now I need to go over and grab my bag of them. Yeah. I use a 100-day journal, which essentially for me, I only fill it out on the weekdays, so it's essentially a 20-week journal. Hi, Kiki. Kiki's visiting. And it's every day you write a really brief little morning page and then a brief page at the end of the day, and it helps to keep me on track, Tyler. Maybe you don't need that for something as simple as your wife's birthday, but it helps me keep track of small goals throughout the weeks as well. Just because every morning I have to like kind of write down, okay, what's my goal for the day? Okay, 1 goal, 1 to 3 goals essentially for the day. And it helps me progress. Yes. This community, the Reapers community, absolutely. Kitus is I think it's Kitus, right? Or is it Keltus? I cannot tell because your light green name is very hard for me to read. But yeah. Reaper's always been a very supportive community, and my own Discord as well, because it's based on the Reaper community. So that's what I love about us. And I think there needs to be a place like that on the internet for new painters, like just people who can just show their stuff. It doesn't matter what level you're at, for sure. Oh, man. Yeah, I didn't realize there was a fountain pen subreddit, but of course there's a subreddit for everything, right? Yeah, so, but I already know. I know the fountain pen I want to buy. I need to wait. Pardon me while I look for my metallic paint. Metallic paints. Oh, it's right on top. How nice. How convenient. It somehow teleported. It knew. It knew that I wanted it. Alrighty. What do I I want to use? Let's find some nice colors. There we go. What are you? You are Dragon Gold. And you are Tarnished Brass, one of my favorites. We'll use that. And you are New Gold, so you'll be a good highlighter. And you are Dragon Bronze. Probably not. We'll just add a little bit of extra pigment to our Tarnished Brass, I think. And then for... Oh, we don't want that. We want a steel, Papa. We want a steel. Blade steel sounds like great idea. Unless I can find a different one. Let me see here. Oh, but tarnished steel is even better. When I'm doing base coating, I tend to stick to the core metallics. And then for highlighting and stuff, I tend to go toward the bones metallics. Just FYI. Because the core metallics tend to have been built with a little bit more, oh, Kiki. All right, exiled. Thank you. I know. Nope. Yeah. You're a silly dog. Your bed is not in here for you to chew. All right, so we've got our paint. Yeah, it's a bag of paint. My organizational system, Kitus, is... I'm very well organized over here. I have a drawer of about 100 colors that I use regularly. And that is pretty much my core set. It's like a mixture of Bones, Pathfinder, and MSP core. And it all just sits right here. So most of the time, all I have to do is reach for this. But when it comes to extra paint, as you all know, MSP has well over 500 colors in it. So if it's stuff that I don't use very often, it honestly is sorted in a bag. Usually with a sub bag or two in the middle or in it, you know, so I can find X, Y, or Z. Didn't take me very long to find those MSP paints. Actually, it's a mixture. If you want an equivalent to Alizarin Crimson, you want a mixture of Succubus Kiss and Asmodeus Red. Asmodeus being a Pathfinder color and Succubus Kiss being a fast palette monster color, or Dungeon Dwellers fast palette color. That is that's the equivalent. And then you can use those two colors to tune it to be either a warmer Alizarin Crimson, which is what like the Chimera Alizarin Crimson is, or a colder, more purpley Alizarin Crimson, which I'm more used to from oil paints, which just means you add more Succubus Kiss. But yeah, that's how you do it. Nice, Twisted Oma. I hope that works for you. I know we've been looking for a way to travel more effectively. All right, so let's get some base color down on these. We're going to use with core because it does cover a bit better. We're going to use Tarnished Brass and Tarnished Steel. So the two tarnished colors makes sense for little Witchhunter dude. And then for highlighting, I've got New Gold, and then I usually add Pearl White to the New Gold to make a even higher highlight for gold. Pearl White is great for mixing highlights for metallics. And then for highlights on the steel, I've got Shining Mithril, so we're going to the bones because it's a little bit sharper and shinier. And again, I can mix Pearl White in with that if I want to pop it up a bit. Although Mithril is almost a white metallic. Yeah, Alizarin Crimson is a weird color anyway, so it's not like a pure pigment doesn't necessarily do anything for you. You're just trying to just get that color. And so, that being the case, I think a mix is perfectly fair. Some pigments are just like that. Since they're not like the bright primary or secondaries, like really it isn't necessary to have a pure pigment version of them, in my opinion. So yeah, it's cooler because you know it's always going to be exactly the same color. But if you're already mixing, exactly the same color doesn't matter that much. So I'm going to thin this paint a little bit. Actually, let's just try it straight up for first. It depends on how. I'm going to use a bigger brush. I would normally do about a 5-to-1 with this. So, well, you know what? I am going to add that one. I want to add a drop of water. The thing about having your metallics in the well palette is you do always want to add a drop of water because you want to keep them from drying right away. I'm doing a 5-to-1 here, so it's a lot of paint and not much water. We'll see if it still covers. If it doesn't, I'll add one more drop of paint, and that should be just fine. You don't want to ever add a ton of water to your metallics. They'll just break fast because the flake is... there we go. So yeah, we'll put on a second coat. But they'll break fast because the flake is always much heavier than water. It's rocks. Mica is rocks. So it makes sense that if you thin it and you lose the body of your paint, you're going to essentially have your rocks fall out of solution. So a dark base coat is working fine with this. I also thin it to avoid brush strokes. It makes the paint self-level a little bit better. We will put another coat on it because it is a little tiny bit thin, but it's doing away. I mean, you can see that it needs a little bit more. Yeah, you should get less transparency with the mix because although Succubus Kiss is very transparent, but Asmodeus isn't. So Asmodeus has better coverage. So hopefully that'll let you hit kind of that halfway point there, Quinny. So you can see a little bit, we need a little bit more coverage on this, but that's fine. We'll do 2 coats, just like we do everything with a base coat. And here I need to get I think I want the barrel in steel and the detailing, the fixtures in brass. And I didn't start as light as I could have with this because I wanted a dingier metal. I can still do some shading here and I can still do some highlighting, but it wasn't as important to me to be able to really shade down and up on this one. If it was a big broad thing like a breastplate, then I would definitely be starting brighter and shading down like we're doing on our warrior lady. Yeah, Pendrake is in a totally different language, apparently. Hello, Dogfather. Oh, I was sadly I don't have my phone with me, but otherwise I'd have some pup dates. Pup dates. I guess I could go get my phone, but it's charging. Maybe we'll do pup dates tomorrow, since there are some Kiki relatives, and I think I gotta end that there. Actually, yeah, that's about right. Okay, then we'll do the fixtures in brass. Cool. So we'll do the pommel, the butt of the gun, and the plate in brass, and these little strips on the top. Alrighty. And then we'll do the buckle on his hat in brass too, I think. There it is. Tarnished brass is honestly one of my favorite colors for a darker gold as well, for a more muted gold, for gold shadows. It's 9198. Mine is pretty faded. It's an old bottle. I need to unclog it, of course, because it is an old bottle. There we go. Sorry, I had to double unclog because it wasn't convinced that it was unclogged after the first time. So people on my Discord, my Patreon Discord, will know that my husband finally got motivated to actually play with our 3D printer this week. He needs a base for the bust that he's working on. He needs a plinth, and so he got motivated about it. Which is funny because I was like dreading the fact I'm like, oh no, if he doesn't pick this thing up and do something with it soon, then I'm gonna be the one who does it. But of course, this now he was sad because it actually, I think he said it detached from the plate last night, so it didn't print. He got like the little base of it, but then it detached. I'm not sure what makes them detach from the build plate. You guys who know about 3D printing. Yeah, it cost you $12. Those dragon busts are awesome. And Kerniko, I hope you saw my comment this morning. Obviously, you just need your friends to who do have 3D printers to print you up a care package. Or maybe we'll have to wait till Christmas. Could be lots of reasons, Sean. I bet he didn't just... it's resin. It's resin, and it's just a plinth, so he didn't hollow it out. I don't think it was just a flat plate. Like, it's round plinth, so he got like essentially a checker, a giant checker out of it before it detached. Yeah, yep, you stab straight through the plastic. That's the nipple, essentially. You've got the clog in there. The pin, the narrowness of the pin, if you use too wide of a pin, then you can get in trouble because your paint might dry out faster. But if you use just a normal pin size or one of our Reaper Pokey tools, that's the biggest I would use. And then just stab it straight through there. Yep. Facebook 3D Printers group. Yeah, he never goes to Facebook. I don't know if I want to encourage him to go to Facebook. He's actually utilizing my Patreon has a 3D print discussion on our Discord, and we've got some pretty knowledgeable people, so yeah, it's moderated. Yeah, it's just that, like, for me, Facebook is a huge time suck, and I avoid it at all costs unless I have business there. And he just has stopped using it as well. So it's less the community and more that Facebook itself is just like so like kind of a time waster, if you know what I mean. And of course it's built to make you addicted to going to it. So neither of us is really a Facebook person. And David is really vulnerable to that. Like if he gets sucked into Instagram, good luck. You're going to see him maybe in an hour. So I'm kind of not wanting to encourage him to go to Facebook I don't want him to get a Facebook habit again. Like, he'll be unhappy about it and I'll be unhappy about it. Yeah, that's my problem with it, Booking Kitties. This is just really... But I'll mention it to him, but he'll probably be like, as long as he can find... Mostly, he just is really good at going, just kind of doing online searches to find the different, like, Reddits and stuff. I think he's more Reddit person than a Facebook person. The rabbit hole apps, yeah. Yeah, Quora's evil that way. I only get my Quora Digest and I look at maybe one thing from it, Shadow Raven, and then I have to forcibly rip myself away from it. So I did a thinning with the brass, but I really felt like it needed a bit more paint to be a more solid coat. So now it's probably about 7-1. We'll see how that works for me. Paint to water, by the way. Yeah. Luckily, Quora has gotten stupid enough in a lot of ways that I'll come for the answers by like Orson Scott Card and Mercedes Lackey about writing, and then I'll promptly get disgusted by some other Quora thread and I'll leave. Because there's so much dumb on there. Oh my gosh. I guess it's just like any social media platform. There's so much dumb. But yeah, so we're just going to go ahead and... Yeah, that's a good solid brass. That'll work. So you always want to do a base coat under your metallics so that you get that nice solid color. Otherwise, it can look streaky and awful if you just put it over like a white primer especially. or the regular gray bones material, gray or white bones material. It's just not going to cover really well. Always do a coat underneath. Oh, yeah, really? That's a shame, Shadow Raven, because she's, like, got the most, like, sensible answers. But yeah, I mean, I don't blame it, right? Quora used to be, like, a place to get, like, real answers from experts, and now it's got so much crap on it. So if that's true, then I'm just going to unsubscribe from my Quora digest. Because Mercedes Lackey is half the reason I go to Quora. Well, maybe actually 80% of the reason I go to Quora. Although I did run into a really good Orson Scott Card response, too. And C.S. Friedman is on there. A lot of, like, good authors. But yeah, she's Mercedes is a breath of fresh air, and so yeah, if she leaves, then I'll just unsub, unfollow. And hey, I'll get part of my life back, because otherwise, when my Quora digest comes in, I almost always like get curious and click through to something, and then I waste time. Sometimes I learn things. More often, though, it's just watching the train wreck that is some person thinking that they get to publish a book and become a millionaire, and the book has no editing, and they wrote it with AI. You know, it's like, although I did wonder if I could use AI to help me design a logo for my publishing imprint. Maybe I'll look into that. Yeah, Mercedes Lackey is awesome. I mean, Quora is kind of like people get on it and ask questions, and it used to be that experts responded to the questions, Agent Marvel. So, like, there's a lot of questions, and then anybody who wants can really respond to them, but there used to be a lot of really qualified people responding. But now there just seems to be a lot of, like, clickbaiters and crazy people on it. It's kind of been overrun, and there's a lot of, like, no value people who are just, like, responding to a question with, like, well, I don't know, you know, that kind of crap. So it's become less valuable as a resource, and a lot of people seem to be abandoning it. Now, essentially, it's going to become just like another place for people to ask random questions and have random strangers answer them. Yeah. Too big, too stupid, and loses the magic. Yep. Yeah, it's people. It's just the way, it's just the way humans, when it gets too big. So yeah, which is a shame. It is, well, actually, it's not a shame. It is somewhat addictive, so it's probably yet another thing I have to not use. I try to avoid that stuff these days. I did used to really have a Facebook addiction because a lot of all my dog stuff is on there, right? Plus my family is on there. But these days, I've essentially put it to, I go to Facebook when I need to make a post about something. And then I usually don't go back. Or if I have a really good Kiki photo, I'll put it up. But it's not like in the old days, I'd be posting every freaking day with a picture of my dogs, or every other day. And I'm nowhere near that anymore. Because then you go and you post, but then you get sucked into somebody else's posts. So we'll get that all. Yeah, there's a lot of noise. A lot of noise, you're right. Make that there, and then I've got, I feel like there's a couple of little studs there. I feel like maybe there's some more silver under that. Well, and it's on Quora, a lot of it is, and I hate to say this, it's just it's existed for a while, right? It's the people who instead of just doing a search to find out what they need, want to just go somewhere and ask the question and have someone feed it to them because it's less work. And that, sadly, is how a lot of people are. And you can't even blame them because it's been, like, you know, it's just the way that they've been taught to operate, and it has always worked, right? And then there are just there's crazy stuff on there too, but people who seem to have a problem with reality. But it is what it is, and it's in everywhere. I mean, and it kind of is the problem of the internet, right? I mean, yeah. Yeah, and my dog people, I mean, most of my Facebook at this point is puppies, Inara. But since I'm trying to step away kind of from the dog thing, and so even that stresses me out these days a little bit. Because there's just a lot of people who are trying to make demands on my time, and I'm not willing to give them all of my time. I did for years, but I'm starting to step back. Especially, I'm going to be having, you know, if Kiki passes all her testing, we'll be having puppies. And that's a lot of work by itself. So I kind of feel like I don't need to be doing all the work for the dog club anymore. All right, let's get that brass plate there and the brass butt there, and then we can start doing some shading. I mean, yeah, but the problem is, Pendrake, I think everybody loves a train wreck. I mean, yeah, you get votes, but when you've got a lot of people who love to watch a train wreck, then the train wreck posts get upvoted. Or the responses, the funny responses to the train wreck posts get upvoted. Like, if somebody posts, how do I know if my dog is possessed? You know, there are going to be some people who just, like, flame rage out on that and just be like, how can you be, you know, how can you be so dumb? But they'll do it in a very entertaining way, and then they'll get a ton of upvotes. So I think the system breaks down at that point. And I'm not kidding, by the way, with the level of question I'm talking about. That is exactly a question you could find on Quora. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like subreddits in general. I'm not a Quora. Like I said, Quora, I kind of got dragged into it because I saw a Mercedes Lackey thing, and I went there. And then it kind of kept me because Mercedes Lackey, answering questions in a logical and good way. But I like the Reddits, depending on which one, right? But like I said, the self-publishing Reddit seems to be actually very good. They've got a wiki, and they've got a ton of resources, and it seems to be a very good Reddit. So I'm going to probably start hanging out there now that I'm actually self-published. There. All right. So I just added a little extra. I need to do another coat on the sword because that's where you're seeing a little bit of streakiness there. Yeah. Yeah, my problem with Facebook is just that when I pare down my, like, friends and family, I still have, like, 400 people on there, Shadow Raven, because of all the dog people who are my friends, and all the writing people who are my friends, and all the mini painting people who are my friends, and then my family, and old friends from high school. Like, I still have way too much, and the problem is if you try to keep up with everybody, you just don't have any time for your life. So I guess I've got a big friend problem. I never thought that would be me, but I guess it is. Because of all the worlds I'm in. Because I have all these, like, hobbies that I get friends, and those friends, they're on Facebook, and then I friend them, and next thing you know, your Facebook can really take up some time. Yeah, I'll essentially, when I have shading, Sean, I'll just essentially either use lining or I'll use a lot of shading. It depends on what color shading I use. But I'll probably do a mix of, like, brown liner and russet brown for the shading on this one. Right now, we just want to block in the metallics and get them solid. Then we can do our shading, then we can do our highlighting. Just like any other color. Metallics just like any other paint. Oh, yeah. Karma farming. Yeah, that's the problem with Reddits too, right? Facebook is just, I don't know. My other problem with Facebook is that I feel like Facebook is evil. I have a hard time with it because of that. Not the communities on Facebook, but the actual platform. That's just me, though. It's totally just me. Mostly I avoid it because it's such a time sink for my brain. My brain loves it. It gets lots of dopamine. It gets to touch base with all of its friends and see cool stuff, but then it also like loses a lot of time. And I got a book to write. Darn it. It's got to be my answer to almost all social media at this point is I got a book to write. All right. So second coat, and it's nice and solid. Oh, yay, Thormo. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's the other thing about social media, right? Is that it lets your boss stalk you. And any future employer, you know, will totally stalk you on your Facebook. If they can find you. Which is fair. I mean... But yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. But yeah, my biggest thing with social media is just that it's such a time sink, and it can distract me from the things in my life that are like important and important to me. So I'm trying to allow less of that because for a large portion of my life between like 20 and 40, I did let things like that distract me. And that's why I'm sitting here writing publishing my first book at age 50. So when I would much rather have had that happen at like age 35 or 40. Right, exactly. You don't need your boss to know how weird. Oh, that's kind of cool, Inara. That's good that you don't use your real... I know somebody else who doesn't use her real name. Mostly because her dad is a little crazy, but also just seems to be... Like, all her friends know her by her sobriquet, so... Makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense, Thormill. Yep. I mean, Reaper was different because, like, I absolutely friended Ed and Dave on Facebook. But Reaper was a very unusual job. Hey there, Miniatures Den. Thanks for the raid. We're doing kind of boring stuff right now. We're just blocking in some true metallics so that I can start throwing some shadows on. We're working on this giant Mousling. It's called the fun-size Mousling. So he's a Witchhunter. And we are just working. People wanted true metallics, so I just thought I would block it in. We're almost done. We're using Reaper metallics for the base coat. Tarnished steel and tarnished brass. The Reaper metallics are a little bit maybe more dull and less shiny on the core line, but then if you go to the bones line metallics, they use a silicate flake, and so they're shinier, but also more transparent. So I tend to use the core metallics. If I'm going to use Reaper for my metallics, I'm going to use the core for base coat. I have been experimenting with a lot of different metallics lately, but when it comes down to golds and brasses and bronzes, in many cases, you're still dealing with the mica flake, no matter who you're going with. So the difference is going to be the base or how much pigment they add. You get more flake variation in the silver because then you have the aluminum flakes available for water-based, and those have very high coverage, but if you're trying to do like thinability or blending, that they're not great for that. They're great for coverage. And they're great for micro patterning and stuff. Like doing a little freehand nicks and stuff like that. But how's it going, Luca? This is my first day of work this week. I'm doing great. How are you? All right, let's see here. I need some russet brown. I want to do some colors here. Now, if we are going for brass, we can also do some dark greens for the shadows. So let's do russet brown for a brown tone, but then let's also look for a green. I think maybe ancient oak or pine green would work. Ancient oak is a little bit more muted. It's not going to give us as bright of a green, so it's pretty good. Hello, Brazil. I was just seeing some pictures of, I think, a national park in Brazil. It was absolutely freaking gorgeous. Like, you guys have amazing mountains in Brazil, just let me say. I really want to go to South America. Because I love mountains, I love scenery, and like Brazil and Argentina and Chile and those all seem to have some amazing places. Patagonia. Yeah, Brazilian food also seems to be amazing. So you guys, yeah, yep. Well, I think that's true of almost everybody. But I hear you. I hear you, Boar. But I live in a state now where everybody cares too much, but there's so much bureaucracy that nothing gets done anyway. Oh well, it is what it is. But yeah, I would love to go to Brazil sometime. We'll put that on the list. So we're going to thin down our paint a bit, and we're going to just stipple on some shadows. So I'm going to use, let me get my black base so you guys can see what the color is of this. So this is ancient oak, and it's a very muted blue-green color. And I do like it a lot for starting out bronze and brass verdigris. Both bronze and brass are copper alloys with other things like tin added in various percentages. But the percentages were always pretty loose back in the days when people first started working with these alloys. I don't know that they're like standardized now. They probably are. But in museums, often now you'll just see it say, instead of telling you it's a bronze artifact, they'll say copper alloy, because it's all over the board as far as how much of X or Y that they mixed in when they were metalworking back in, in the Bronze Age, quote unquote. Also could be called the Brass Age. Ah, tax refund. Uh-oh. That's okay. Lint from your windows. That is not a fun job, Tarzan. I do not blame you for listening and watching something else while you do it. I have to spend my tax refund on fixing my car. It's so depressing, guys. Like, I actually get a decent tax refund for the first time in eons, and I have to fix my car. And my car is only worth $4,000, and it probably is going to cost $2,000 to $3,000 to fix it. Like, and then it's like, you're just like, arg, but you're not in a position to buy a new car yet. So it's like, yes, that is absolutely true, Madashine. You are true. You are absolutely on that. That's true. I haven't for years. I have not gotten a tax refund for over a decade. But when I, after the divorce and before the marriage, I was overpaying my taxes essentially without realizing it, because self-employment tax. And I was kind of guesstimating because the form is such a pain. And I overguesstimated, because you'd always rather overguesstimate than underguesstimate. And yeah, so that means the government owes me a lot of that money back, which is really nice. But yeah, one fun thing, and then it goes to bills. I feel that, yeah. Oh, very cool, Neuro. Very cool. Spain trip. Yeah, David overpays too, and so he gets a chunk of money back as well. But for trips, I just have a savings account that I add to every 2 weeks. Because I've just learned that if I plan to kind of like just save money, but I don't actually make it I put a deadline on my phone and, put it on my schedule to put money in the vacation account, I won't do it. So right when my various pay things come in, I put money into my vacation savings. So that way I can actually take these trips like, you know, ReaperCon. All right, so let's just do some like kind of green stipples first. If I want a particular color to really stick around and be more overt over metallics, I typically will use that first. And I'm going to mostly focus it kind of in the shadow area around the butt of the gun. This is half weather, half verdigris and half shadows. Mostly, I just like to give a little bit of that green hint to the shadows here. But I'm also going to use this around the little bolts up here. And maybe I'll do a little bit. This is a flat plate, so we'll have to decide how the light is going to come down it. Oh, nice! Nice, Zachariah. I haven't gotten mine yet. I think it's shipped, but it's not here yet. So, how's it look? Do you notice, like, does it look pretty? Is it pretty? Like, Zachariah ordered my book in hardcover. He was the first one, and so now I'm gonna have to interrogate him about if it's pretty, because I did it, so it would be pretty. Looks pretty. Okay, good. Right. So we're just putting some greens in here. So I'm going to put a little bit more around these bolts. I can always come back in with my metallics and lighten things. So essentially we want to darken down our metallics a bit. I'm using regular paint and not like transparency because I want my shadows and things to not be shiny in this case. But yeah, self-employed is just, I have to pay estimated taxes, and the estimated tax worksheet is just like ridiculously difficult to fill out and understand. Like, so I pretty much like just guesstimated stuff and knowing, because I know the base tax rate. But apparently I forgot to account for the fact that I had a deduction. So, oh well, it is what it is. As you say, I'd much rather overpay and have money back. So I'm just sad that my car needs new shocks and struts and tires. But it's the car that's going to ReaperCon, so it is worth it. It's worth it. So here, I'm going to kind of put a shadow in on both sides. Because usually you'll see a little bit of an angle here where the hilt comes up and out a little bit. It isn't necessarily sculpted onto this one, but I'm gonna put some shadows in anyway to suggest it. Because I like the look that it gets to do that highlight coming down the center. And I'm just blobbing it in. Like, I don't really care about being precise here. I'm just wanting to figure out where my light is, where my shadows are. It's going to be a shadow under the hand there, so I'm just going to block it in. Oh, did you not? I didn't realize you didn't have that you had not ordered it yet. And then you chose to order the hardcover. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, my artist is really good, Zachariah. I love my cover artist. She's wonderful. I can't wait to work on the next book with her. It's good stuff. Part of me wishes that I could just like stop everything else in my life and just write. Like, I get it. I'm like, because I want more books out. Like, I want to have more books. But I have a real life and another job. 2 jobs, actually. I have my Reaper job every morning, and then I have my Patreon. And so I cannot just quit everything else in my life and go and write books, sadly. It doesn't work that way. All right, so I'm doing a little wet blending here with my regular paint and my metallic just to get a little bit of a blend up there, transition. Yeah, that's just the way they do it now, I think, at Ingram's. Amazon only does the interior book, having the, like, Amazon doesn't do dust jackets anymore. They just do the printed interior cover. So I'm curious to see how this looks. But it should be really high quality, because Ingram's is the company that all the big New York publishers use for hardcovers. So it should be the same quality as any professionally published book out there. I really quality is important to me. So I'm just going to do a little bit of blending here just to get the metallics to still have a little bit of shadow. We're still going to add in browns as well. Yeah, but I do love the dust. Dust cover is the most expensive format, so I knew that it was going to be pricey, but I wanted to do it anyway. And I'll do that for West of the Moon as well. We'll do except for West of the Moon, now that once I see the hardcover on East of the Sun, I'll just have it available on launch, I think, the hardcover. I just wasn't sure at that point, and I was trying to cut down on my to-do list before launching my first book, because it gets a little overwhelming at the end there before you hit the button. So a little bit more green on the sides. We're not putting a lot of green in this, but since we're going to come back over it with kind of a warmish brown, that's going to neutralize the green a bit. But I like the greenish tone that I'm getting. It's very interesting. I think you'll agree. So that's why I'm going with a color here instead of just popping in the brown. For steel, I tend to go blue first and then brown when I'm doing this sort of treatment, unless you're going to have a very rusted blade, and this is definitely a very dinged up blade, so we could go with a rusty, in which case then we would go with a red or red-orange with some brown. So I mix it up that way. Sometimes even some purple, depends. But you can do a lot of different stuff on steel to make it look more interesting. Oh, this is ancient oak, so it's that. And we're going to use this one next. It's rusted brown. And there's my tarnished brass. Agent marble. But yeah, I mean, just like with any paint, metallic's just another paint. It's just a paint with like rock flakes in it, or metal flakes in it, or it's either rock or metal flake. Because usually it's either most of it's mica, some of it's mica or silicate, and then the silvers you sometimes will get an aluminum flake. But yeah, I mean, you absolutely can wet blend with it. Because, I mean, colored metallics that are anything other than pure, like just the flake, like these golden high flow acrylics, you can tell just from looking at it, there's no color in here. Look at how transparent that is when they pull it out. It's only flake. So anything like this is an exception, but almost every metallic that you see that isn't one of those pure flake colors has pigment added to it. So with the paint, you're just adding more pigment and, some base as well. But there's no reason you can't wet blend metallics with regular paint. Absolutely no reason. However, I'm gonna thin my metallic a little bit more at this point because that is gonna help with the wet blending. Now that I have a solid coat, I don't need to worry about coverage so much. Yeah, sometimes NMM's just going to fight you. I mean, it depends. Sometimes metallics fights me. I would say usually I can get NMM to work on a figure more than metallics, but it depends. And it depends on the figure. Yeah, I don't remember what Sparkling Snows. That's one that was made after my time, so I'm not sure about the mix of that. Like what flake it has or what pigments. Everything else, anything that was done before I left Reaper, obviously I can usually tell you just off the top of my head what pigments are in it and what flake is used. But anything done after I moved out here is I usually don't know. If I had a bottle of it, I could look at it and tell you, but I do not actually own Sparkling Snow. I think was it a goodie bag one? Did it come out with the goodie bag? Or is it a holiday color? There's just a little bit of wet blending. We've got kind of that greenish cast. It looks nice. So it's kind of like pearl white, probably. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Quindy. Yeah, no idea what's going to happen with future paint cancellations now that Ed isn't there. Maybe they'll go ahead with him. Maybe they won't. No idea. I imagine Ron will continue on in the vein that Ed was going, so. The nice thing about Rusty Red is it's going to be very high coverage because it had a lot of red oxide in it, along with the high density red pigment. So if you didn't mind the slight orange cast to it, but you thought it was pretty, then it was a great red because it was so high coverage. No. Sadie left ages ago, in our couple of years, I think. Sadie wanted to move on with her life, I think, in a different direction. So right now in the paint department, they've had a girl there for a while, and I don't remember her very well, but she was working there, was working at Reaper at the time that I left. And I believe she's an art student at UNT. It happens. I mean, the paint department's not an easy beast. It can be pretty high pressure to run that sucker and to keep it running. There are times I miss the paint department and there are times I don't. Alrighty. Mostly I miss that I can't just haul off and make a gallon of a color at a whim. David would roll his eyes at me. He's like, normal people don't make gallons of colors, you know. I'm like, it's because normal people aren't special like me. Sparkly bluish gray. Okay. So maybe it's like, oh, wait, maybe I do remember it. Okay, so actually I do remember it. It's like Snow Shadow, only with metallics. I remember now. Sorry, guys. I've slept since then. Yeah, Kroniko, exactly. Yeah. Yep. Poor Justin. Justin prefers my streams. Justin's like, I'm the chill person. I'm gonna bring in a little bit of green on here. Just a little bit toward the shadow. Just a little bit. Just to give it a little bit of different. Yeah, Sadie is an unusual personality. She could go way over the top, and sometimes she was just hilarious. Like, working with Sadie was hilarious. She was my second in command for a long time in the paint department. Okay, so we got that greenish cast. Now let's grab some brown to give our brass a little bit more of a rich tone. And I think I'm going to have to really thin this down because russet brown, the good thing about it is it's got great coverage. The bad thing about it is it's got great coverage. So if I want to put it over my metallics, I don't want it quite that strong. Now this is a time, as I mentioned, where I'm not adding anything to my paint colors. I'm keeping them opaque and I'm keeping them flat. You can also do the technique that we've done before that I've talked about that Kirill taught us, where you add a little bit of a gloss medium to these paints and you add a bit of your metallic flake as well to go over the top if you want to still keep some of that. But I don't think, for me, I don't feel that works as well on 28 millimeter. I feel like it's a great tactic for bigger models, not so much for 28 mil. So I told David that since I was like almost done with Anubis, I was going to start a new bust because I was so happy about being almost done with Anubis. And he promptly was like, "Oh, well, you could work on one of my old busts." I'm like, "What?" He's taunting me with this bust that I should go and get it. I'll go get it in a second. It's the company that made it is, I think, out of as defunct now, so I'll never, like, I was pissed because I could never get one to paint myself. So now apparently he thinks he wants me to steal his and paint it because he lost love for it long ago and he wants me to paint it. Which is like, I'm like, and also, it's like, no, it's actually a similar version of a smaller mini Medicine. So normally Mouselings are much smaller than this. And this is actually the different, this is a fun size in a totally different direction. I know it doesn't make sense. Reaper's branding never makes sense. Just get used to it. Reaper's branding, whatever you think it is always 180 degrees different from what you think it is. It's like Bones Black not being black. It's like, it's like, Reaper, I love you, but please, branding. This is actually the family size Mousling, exactly, right? Oh my gosh. Yeah. It happens in our I'm sad. Technically. Bones darkish gray. Yes, it's just like, sometimes. So yeah, I don't know what to think about David, like, trying to get me to finish his half-done minis. Like, I'm like, so you want the mini to be done, or you want you want to get inspired by the mini again. So you're going to give it to me, and I'm going to work on it and make it look awesome. And then you're going to be like, oh, give me my mini back again. Like, totally. That's totally the way it's going to go, guys. I see this coming. So I'm just brushing this brown. It's not really darkening the surface. But you see that warmth that we're getting from it? So it's kind of changing and muting the green a little bit. And it's giving me more complexity. So when I come back in with my highlights, I'm going to get more difference. It's going to show up more. Yeah, exactly. Right, Tyler? I don't know. More chocolate equals more fun, huh? Fair. All right, so I'm just throwing in a bit more brown. I can even paint it over my highlight if I want to warm that up. So I'm just trying to not make this go too cold, but you can see how it's making it very rich. It's like, it's giving me somewhere to work up from. I still have some of my base color. You can see the base color just shining through in those little spots. Here. But it is going to give me more room to work up, right? When I come back with my highlights. So you can see how nice, and doesn't that look nice though? It's like, you get that beautiful, like, you've got the greens and the browns and the complexity of it, and then you've got the metallic. When I bring in more highlights for the metallic, it's really going to pop. And we've got this nice, complex metallic look. Even, you only need 2 colors to do this. You don't need, like I said, with silver or steel, I'll often use blue and brown. If it's rusted steel, I'll use red and brown. If it's like a red gold, I'd use red and brown on the gold. And if it's a bronzy or greenish verdigris kind of tarnish cast, I'll do this. I'll do the green and brown. Sometimes I use a darker brown, like for the red and brown. If I was doing a rusty blade, we'll probably use, we'll actually use like a brown liner. Like, we'll probably go that dark with it. So, and I'll do a lot of stippling on that one. And we have Luca today, am I correct? Since he threw you guys at us and abandoned you and abandoned us, I assume that we have a llama, a great alpaca. The grand alpaca shall return to us. Yes. All right. Well, I'm keeping an eye on the time. The one thing I'm sad about not being able to walk Kiki is now I have to get my steps somehow on my Fitbit. Just going over this on the gun. Oh, I see. Oh, great. Luca lurking in the shadows. Now I'm going to have nightmares of a looming alpaca face. All right, circus culling, and really I'm just knocking it down so I can bring it up with more control. Not creepy at all. Exactly right. Oh, meeting time. Enjoy your meeting, Crowley. Bye. Bye. But yeah, but doing a double, like, you know, stippling in a couple of different colors over metallics can really give you this beautiful, rich patinaed look that you wouldn't normally get. You know, and this is a clunky figure. Let's face it, like, these are just big, chonky details. But doing this sort of treatment makes them look a lot better than what they were otherwise. So you can add the illusion of, like, curves and of breadth and of depth, more so than the model actually has. Essentially, you make the model look better than it really is. But yeah, so, and for me, I really enjoy highlighting metallics and bringing up, you know, little textures and stuff like that. So I love this treatment. I actually did use 3 colors on a metallic once. I actually, for my orcs, back when I had orcs, space orcs, the actual sci-fi, the dim dark, the grim dark orcs. I started with red, and I actually did green over the red, and then I did brown, and got a very interesting, like, just kind of modeled, just lots, very interesting, quick metallic. Dirty steel. Nice dreams. Oh, no. No. Too much. It's too much, man. Yeah, I mean, just pick a couple colors. Like I said, on gold, another great color to use on gold if you're not trying to go for that greenish cast with brass is purple. Because you've got a complementary there. Use a more reddish purple like Monarch, and you can get some beautiful shadows off of that. So... Zachariah, oh no, you had to write it out. You had to give us that. Oh man. Okay. Short flash fiction in the chat. Disturbing flash fiction in the chat. Burnt steel. The best, if you're talking about what happens when an armor smith does like the oil coating and then does the heat over the top to seal the oil, actually, the color that turns Shadow Raven is scorched metal. Because it turns brown, like, because you put linseed oil over the plates. I've actually talked to an armorer about this. I saw this in an armorer's shop, and I was like, what is this? Because it's a metallic color, and I don't know why there's a brown metallic. And he's like, that's when you put linseed oil over the top of the metal to treat it and seal it and keep it from rusting, and you essentially apply a lot of heat, you know, you essentially burn it on. Great, Mini Tristan. Great. Just encourage him. But yeah, so Scorched Metal 9125, the brown metallic, and GW usually has one of these too. I don't remember what they call it now, but they had one back in the day, and yeah, Quindy's face palming. And it turns that brown color. It gets a little yellowish too. It can be a bit, it gets, so you could highlight that, you know. I would maybe highlight it with even steel and then put like a orangish yellow over the top of it. You should pick up writing too. Yeah, we can both be like, although you probably sell better than me because you write really dirty fiction miniatures, Dan, and that sells. Oh, you should do alpaca porn. Oh, did I say that? Quindy, he's bad for me. Quindy, he's bad for me. Save me. Oh no. Oh my gosh. Oh. You know, one of the best-selling indie writers on the internet actually writes dinosaur, right? Yeah. Oh, gay dinosaur. Yeah, not joking. Not joking. We all died. Yes, we all just died. You just cut this part out, Quindy. Here, I'll get my composure back and oh my gosh. Okay, and then we can just say a nice goodbye, and Quindy can just cut out, tactically cut out. Yes, Chuck Tingle. who is amazing. Have you read, he's, yeah. But yeah, Chuck Tingle is amazing. Like, I've read an interview with him, and it's so terrible, but he's a smart guy. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I mean, it's terrible, but when, there's a whole story behind him. Yeah, and do you know that when the rabid puppies like tried to make the Hugos look like a joke by nominating his book, he promptly like turned it on its head and totally like shoved it down their throat. So yeah, he's amazing. Yes, 2-time. Yes, you got to. But Ultra Squid, the great thing was that he came back and like supported the Hugos. Like he actually like made the puppies regret it. Now, this is a whole writer drama thing, so maybe we'll talk about it another day, but those who know what I'm talking about, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, seriously. There's some fun stuff to read out there. Today is Luca's 100th episode! And there's our cut right there. Today is Luca's 100th episode, so I am actually going to get off of this stream on time. Oh, geez, miniature's done. And Quindy can just delete this whole... You guys are those of you who are watching this VOD, you have no idea how far off the rails this stream went. But Quindy has rescued us. The great Quindy has rescued us. And now all you need to know is that it is Miniatures Den's 100th stream. All right. And final episode, Quindy says. Oh my gosh. I mean, gosh. Oh. Yeah, so I think we had a fun stream, right? Yes, it is amazing. And I was waiting for 11. Oh my gosh. All right, people. We had fun. And hey, we got all our metallics kind of darkened in, so that means next time we can do highlighting on the brass and we can do the shading on the steel, okay? So yeah, and it's getting hot out here today, so I can take off my dang flannel and go out and play with my puppy. And no, that's not a euphemism. Oh, Lord, yes. Quindy is the saver. Yes. I thought every once in a while it's fun. Yeah, you have a great stream, Luca. You have a great one. And I will talk to you guys later when I can reclaim my mind from the dirt and filth that has penetrated it briefly. Y'all have a great day. And yeah, tomorrow. Oh, wait. Tomorrow. What are we doing tomorrow? Whoa. Oh, crap. Guess what? We're starting a new mini because I don't know what I'm going to do for this guy's basing. I think we were going to do a general base, like a just straight up base. Okay, we're either doing basing on this guy or Tyler, I knew you were going to catch that. I had to do it. It's Luca. Luca is bad for me, okay? Luca is bad for me. I think it's bad for everybody, but maybe good for somebody. I don't know. Anyway, or we'll talk. Let's do that. Let's work on the base for this guy, and let's talk about colors for Jolie. How about that? You got to be good for your girlfriend, or she wouldn't be with you. But yeah, so let's do that. Let's do we're going to partially disguise this base and make it look kind of like it's fading off into like, some moss and stuff, I think. And then, yeah. And then we'll talk about what colors you guys would like to see me paint Jolie in, all right? And maybe we'll choose some and we'll talk about color theory and what colors we might match to that. You guys think that'd be fun? Yeah, cobbles and weeds is what I was kind of thinking, Richard. And I think I'm going to use, I don't know, I want to do something quick and easy that you guys could use on your own stuff. But I also want to spice it up just a little. So we'll see. We'll see what we're doing. But that's what we're going to do tomorrow. So we'll see you then. And I'm going to hand you over to the Lord of Alpacas. Have a great one, everybody.